retired Atlanta police captain. I'm here with Ricky Johnson. He did 37 years altogether in prison. Again, like I said, we got another good episode that we're going to talk about. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Ricky a question about what some of the interesting stories that he had while he was in prison. Hey, Ricky, you can introduce yourself as well. But yeah, I want you to tell us a little bit about, a good, interesting story that you want to get out.
Yes, my name is Ricky Johnson, and I served 37 years off and on in the Georgia prison system, and I was released September the 7th, 2021, after serving 24 years of incarceration. One of my memorable moments in prison was around 1988 to 89. We had a riot at River State Prison, and I was in dormitory 6. And at River State Prison, there was a lot of prison brutality, staff brutality going on. They was jumping on prisoners and beating prisoners, and if you refused to go to detail, they had a flagpole out in the prison yard. They would take you out there and they would handcuff you around that uh, flagpole, and you would have to stand there in the hot sun from the time that detail went out until the time that details came back in. And the least little thing, they would take you over. They had a tunnel in that prison, and they would take you down in that tunnel, and they would jump on you and brutalize you down there. And it was one night around, it was 89, an inmate, Wendell Anderson, he was being assaulted by staff. And I was up in dormitory 6, and I heard a commotion at the door, and I went and looked at the door, and they was on the hallway just bringing Wendell out of the elevator, and they was assaulting him. They were just beating him and beating him. And I told everybody to move away from the door, and they moved away from the door. And I started to beat on the door, and the sergeant came and opened the door, and he told me to get away from that door. And I bowled up at him. At the time, I weighed about 245 pounds, had been lifting weights for years, and I was big and bulky. And when I did that, I saw the fear in his eyes, and he slammed the door and locked the door. And I immediately grabbed a 50-gallon trash can drum and threw it against the door. And I said, man, these people are beating people around here randomly. I said, the same thing that they're doing to Wendell, we all are subject to the same treatment. We have to do something to stop this. And one of my friends that old guy did time with when I was a teenager down back in Alto, he snatched the water fountain off of the wall. And from that point, we just started to tear up the dormitory, demolish everything, set things on fire. And I was in the east building, and what building? South building. And we hollered over to the east building and let them know what was going on when they started rioting over there. And they hollered over and let the other building know, and they started rioting. And it became an all-out riot until the riot squad arrived that night, and they bombarded the building and shooting gas and everything, bean bags and stuff, and had everybody down on the floor and handcuffed everybody. And it was in the wintertime, it was freezing cold. And everybody, they marched us all out on the yard, and they was beating people as they was going out of the dormitories on the yard with billy clubs and spraying them with mace. And they handcuffed us with rubber, with plastic cuffs, and laid everybody down on the freezing ground. And we was all soaking wet. And so many people, they beat so many people and sent them out to the hospitals in Milledgeville till they told them that not to send any more inmates out there because they don't have no room whatsoever for them. And while we was laying on the ground out there handcuffed, the officers were just walking around kicking people and spitting on people. And one of my memorable moments with that is while they was doing that, they had these cuffs so tight that your hands and everything was just numb and freezing. And I worked my way up on my feet. And at the time I was striving in Islam. And I said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And they came over and told me to get back down on the ground, and I wouldn't. And I said, man, I ain't getting back down on this ground. All y'all you can kill me if you want to. I'm not getting back down. And I told all the inmates, I said, man, get up. They can't do nothing but kill us, man. Unfortunately, wouldn't nobody get off that ground and stand on their feet. And that was very, very disturbing to me uh, after what we had went through and what we was going through. And they, after that, they put a lot of us on buses and transferred us to other institutions and filled the isolation areas up with everyone that they possibly could. And so that was one of my most memorable moments of incarceration, things that took place.
Okay, man, that's a lot. Um, just briefly, I just want to know a couple of things. Like, what year did this take place? And the other thing is, they didn't exercise, y'all Eighth Amendment right of cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, so that's why I'm concerned about what year was that, because that's kind of messed up, man, to be walking around kicking and spitting on folk, and that sounds like something that was back during the civil rights era. So I mean, like, what year was this? And did you guys have it? Were y'all Eighth Amendment rights protected at all?